Hi, everybody. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. Not sure where you're joining us from. You may be watching the replay. So I'm not going to say good afternoon, even though it's afternoon where I am. So let's just leave it at good day. My name is Natalia Hansen from Humane Canada's Summit for Animals. Proudly sporting my shirt here. And I'm excited to chat with two ladies from the Whale Sanctuary Project. One of them, Alexandra, is joining us in Montreal at the end of this month to present a session at Humane Canada Summit for Animals. And then we also have the Whale Sanctuary Project's president, Lori Marino, who is just building up on this conversation, adding value, adding her resources, her insights, and just sharing her bright mind with us. We wish Lori was coming to Montreal as well, but due to scheduling conflicts, she can't. But she's sharing her time and her knowledge today here with us. So, this is a conversation that I really want to make the most out of. So, I'm just going to go straight to it. But first, I will remind you that the Summit for Animals is sold out. So there is unfortunately no more space to register for this year's conference in Montreal. But I still highly encourage you, if you're watching this and you did not get a chance to register, to add your name to our conference email list so you can come to our conference in 2026. We will make the announcement of the location and dates towards the end of this month. So go to our website, is humanecanada.ca/summit, and you can add your name right there. All right, so let's introduce our wonderful guests. We have Alexandra Vance, who is a dedicated marine scientist and conservationist with deep roots along the Atlantic coast. She brings extensive experience collaborating with Indigenous rights holders, government agencies, academia, and local communities. Passionate about social and environmental justice, she is a strong advocate for ocean literacy, science communication, and youth mentorship. Joining Alexandra, we have Dr. Lori Marino, a renowned neuroscientist and expert in animal behavior and intelligence with a PhD in biopsychology. Internationally recognized for her groundbreaking research on the brains and intelligence of dolphins, whales, primates, and farm animals. Her 2001 study on mirror self recognition in dolphins was a pivotal moment in animal cognition research and a turning point in her decision to no longer work with captive animals. She's a prominent voice in the movement against marine mammal captivity and has been featured in major documentaries, including Blackfish, Unlocking the Cage, and Long Gone Wild. So let's bring them out onto the screen and say hello. Hello, Alexandra.
Hello.
Hi, Lori. Welcome. Thanks for being
Hi,
here.
Natalie.
Hi, Natalia. Thank you for having us.
It's my
Yes,
pleasure. I've been looking forward to this conversation for quite a while. Thank you so much. And by the way, before we get going with questions, I want to encourage everyone who's watching. We may have some followers and some supporters from the Whale Sanctuary Project joining us as well on this live stream. So this is an opportunity for you, the viewers, to interact with our guests. So post your comments in the chat, your questions, concerns, opinions, etc., and we'll bring them out if we can. So why don't we start with you, Lori? Can you give us an overview of the Whale Sanctuary Project?
yes. Well, the Well Sanctuary Project is a nonprofit organization that started in 2016. And our mission really is to change the landscape for captive dolphins and whales. We want to end dolphin and whale captivity. And the way we want to do that is by creating ocean sanctuaries around the world. And we are currently creating a sanctuary for belugas and orcas in Nova Scotia. And we have a fantastic team. Alexandra is one of the members of our team, and I can tell you more later.
Amazing. Actually, I want to switch it to Alexandra now because, like you said, she is in Nova Scotia. Can you please tell us about what's behind you? I know what
Yes.
it is, but I want you to explain it.
Yes, it's a perfect backdrop, isn't it? Because this is actually an artist rendering of our project site. And without getting into too much detail, what we have here in Nova Scotia is a really special oceanographic, geologically perfect site for this whale sanctuary to be developed. So we have here a beautiful barrier island connected to the mainland with a bit of an isthmus, and then our sort of mainland here. And this net, it's really hard to point backwards, goes all the way sort of out to deep waters, out to a maximum of 60 feet, so 18 meters for the whales to explore. And it's 100 acres of marine space that we're designing for these orcas and or belugas. So ultimately, we're in a really nice protected bay, really carefully chosen. Lori and the team well predates me coming on board, but well before me, 130 sites were actually examined by which to pick the site ultimately. And it was, many years in the making, going up and down the coast. Lori, you can speak a little bit more to the process, but I know you looked at British Columbia, you looked at Washington, D.C., and ultimately Nova Scotia.
Actually, not Washington, D.C., Washington State.
State.
Right.
Washington State, thank you.
State,
You can tell I'm a
Columbia,
Canadian.
and Nova Scotia, and the coast on the east and west. And we went everywhere. And we were fortunate to find the site.
How amazing, how beautiful. I've seen this rendering just yesterday. And then when Alexandra came on camera, I was like, oh, you've got it right there. This is awesome. And she told me this is going to be one of her slides in her presentation at the Summit for Animals. So again, this is just a sneak peek. We only really have 30 minutes to do these live chats and we can't give everything away. The goal is just to give you all a sneak peek so you get excited to attend the conference. Great. Thank you so much for showing us that beautiful rendering. Lori, I want to ask you, why is there an urgent need for cetacean sanctuaries? And by the way, cetacean refers to whales, dolphins, porpoises, etc.
There's an urgent need for cetacean sanctuaries for a couple of reasons. The main reason is that these animals, we know now, do very poorly in traditional captive environments. They live in concrete tanks, are forced to do tricks. And the science tells us very definitively that they do not do well in captivity. We know that they suffer from all kinds of stress-related diseases. They live short lives, and something has to be done because it just doesn't fit for them. The other reason is the fact that, people know this now. People are starting to realize that these animals, dolphins and whales, do not belong in concrete tanks entertaining us. And so around the world, we're seeing shifts in aquariums and marine parks giving up their dolphin and whale captives. We see legislation, for instance, in Canada, that has banned keeping these animals and breeding them for entertainment. That kind of thing is happening all over the world. And so we need to have a place for the captive dolphins and whales in entertainment parks to go when they're retired. And that's sanctuary.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I know you said that the public's perception is shifting, so I'm hopeful. I have to admit, when I was about maybe 7 years old, I went to Florida with my parents, all the parks. We went to SeaWorld, and of course, I enjoyed watching the show, right? And later on, when I learned I knew better, I felt so bad and guilty. But I was like, I was a child, I didn't know better, and I'm sure my parents didn't either. I went to circuses. I have a photo sitting on top of an elephant, and my heart is like, but we don't know better, right? We can't change when we don't know that something is not maybe right.
That's
I want to
right.
pause for a second and say we have people watching on Instagram. We have Earth, Sun, Moon, Love. That's the name of the account, saying this is so great. Peter says greetings from California. So hello, everyone who's tuning in through Instagram. We're happy to have you here. This is awesome. Okay, that's great. Thank you for explaining this. And I will share in the chat here. This is not going to come up on Instagram. It will come up on Facebook and LinkedIn. There is a beautiful 5-minute short film that I watched yesterday, the folks at the Whale Sanctuary Project shared, and I had all the feelings. I was hopeful, uplifted, angry in 5 minutes. So I encourage you all to watch it. I'll post the link here in a second. So Alexandra, I want to switch to you. And I would love it if you could tell us more about what, no, sorry, not this one yet, my bad. I want you to talk about to what extent has developing the sanctuary, the beautiful rendering right behind you, how has it been a collaborative effort with stakeholders, rights holders, government, and other NGOs?
Oh, I mean, it's been a tremendous all hands on deck effort. I really think this project in particular is really a shining example of what can be achieved when true collaboration happens. And so we've been really fortunate. We've had all kinds of individuals, organizations, entities, agencies all coming together to really make this project not only possible but already successful in its early stages. For example, we work with all levels of government. So we're at municipal, provincial, and federal levels to get our permits, to make sure we're achieving our legal and regulatory requirements. We're also working with the local fishermen here who have graciously offered up their space. Actually, you can see in the artist rendering, it's super teeny tiny. There's actually a really lovely little fishing wharf here at our site. And the local fisher folk, again, have graciously given up their space and their local fishing grounds to make space for sanctuary. It's just so heartwarming. We also have, it's ongoing, it's building, it's beautiful, this relationship with our First Nations, the Mi'kmaq here in Nova Scotia. And actually just this afternoon, there was a press release, really, again, just touting support and sort of the unification of our purpose, but also our philosophy of offering reparations for these whales. Everyone's coming together behind this mission to give these whales a better quality of life. And last but not least, we have undying support from our local community here in Sherbrooke, Hawaiian Harbour, Port Bickerton. The surrounding community here in Nova Scotia could not be more wonderful, more uplifting, and put their heart and soul behind everything we do. I swear they give us the wind in our sails. Just for example, this past year alone, so in 2024, we had 1,400 volunteer hours out of a town that has a population of 400 people. So it's really incredible to see what this local community is capable of in, again, the pursuit of trying to offer a sanctuary, a site for these whales to come live here in our backyard. So as a Nova Scotian, it makes me really proud to be part of this team, but also part of this collective community that we have. Again, from everyone from rights holders to stakeholders to government to First Nations, everyone's joining forces to really put their best foot forward and make this happen. Natalia looks frozen.
Natalie's frozen. Natalia's frozen. Well, let's continue.
She posted.
I don't know if Natalia hears. She's coming back. She's coming back.
I think she's coming back.
Yes.
Okay. Otherwise, we can just chat, Laura.
Yes. So, and that behind you is our site. It is on what would be considered the northeastern shore of Nova Scotia. And I think what people should know about looking for a site for a sanctuary like this is that there's two different levels of requirements. One is the physical. In other words, is this a site that whales can live and be healthy and have the space and be safe and all of that? And that involves years of environmental tests to make sure that that's the case. And then the other is the people, as you mentioned, in the local area who need to come together to support this kind of a big project. And in fact, we found this site because of the fact that the people in Sherbrooke, nearby, about 15, 20 minutes away, suggested we look there. And that's how we found it. So Yeah, there's a lot that goes into just finding the right site. Natalia is back with us.
I am
She's
so
back. And
sorry.
before we pass it,
That's quite a ride. We've just been
you're all
chatting.
good. We kept it going. We're good. And I was just going to take a quick moment to add to that because we have an incredible team member, which I just think she deserves a shout out very quickly. Amy Simon, our very own whale girl. She's our community officer. She's based here in Sherbrooke. I'm currently located in our operations and visitor center, which Amy is responsible for. She just had a baby, so she's not here with us today, but Amy Simon is really the one, I think, in my mind's eye, who really, put up her hand and got the whale sanctuary to find this site. So again, it could not be more grassroots as much as we are also an international effort. And I think that's really unique for the whale sanctuary project as well.
Shout out to you, Amy. Thank you. Thanks for highlighting the collaborative efforts of your own team members and all the stakeholders. That's where I sadly lost connection. I don't know what happened. I got kicked out, but I was thinking, they got it. I know they keep the conversation going. It's all good. And I just jumped back in. So sorry about that. But I'm back here. And yeah, thank you because it's important to highlight. And when I left, when I got kicked out, Alexandra, you were talking about working with the fishermen, working with all these stakeholders. So it's wonderful because it's not like your team came on and said, this is what we're doing, everybody out, that's it, we're imposing our beliefs, we're doing this, it is what it is. No, it sounds like you really opened up the floor to talk to all of these stakeholders, all of these key players, including the indigenous peoples, including the fishermen. So how fantastic. I would love to visit this area. We were in Halifax last year because, yeah, I know I want to go. We were in Halifax last year doing the conference, the 2024 Summit for Animals. How far is
Right.
the site going to be from Halifax for those who are not from that area?
Now 2.5 hours.
All right.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 hours. Yep.
Okay.
It's
And
really and it's a beautiful drive at that.
Yeah.
I bet. Oh, I bet. All of Nova Scotia is so beautiful. So I don't know if you touched on this while I was gone. I hope not. And if you did, maybe touch on it again. But Alexandra, I know today you are in the visitor center. So can you talk about that? What is that space? Can people go? When is it open?
Yeah. Well, it's the first of our infrastructure development. So, ahead of actually developing the sanctuary itself, we've developed and again, at the grace of the community, have this beautiful historic home here in the heart of Sherbrooke. And it's where we invite folks, anyone from all over the world, even. We've got a beautiful guest book filled out from across the planet. And it's just a space for folks to come learn and ask questions and engage with us and about the project. So if you come in, there is a whole tour that's available. There's a bit of a story that's kind of laid out along the wall. So as you kind of move through the building, you kind of learn a little bit more as you go, and including some of Lori's research and dolphin brains posted on the wall. So it's pretty cool. And we're open 3 days a week. We're open Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Our hours are posted online, but quick shout out is 10 to 1 Mondays and Fridays. And this evening, I'll actually be here from 4 to 7 p.m. And yeah, we just try to make ourselves. There's always a staff member, volunteer here, very knowledgeable, willing just to kind of talk about anything folks want to talk about. And I think that's a really special piece. Again, most projects that are international like ours don't necessarily have that on the ground connection as well. And I just think it's really special that we make ourselves available. And again, just a kind of a community living room. Like we host a lot of events here. Our really big one of the year coming up is Ocean Day. So this year we're hosting it on June 1st. And we try to build up as much event and enthusiasm and ocean literacy here in the community as we possibly can. And this center here in the heart of Sherbrooke, again, only 20 minutes away from where our site is the perfect spot to do all of that.
I love that. Thank you. Thanks for sharing an overview of this center. I would love to go whenever I'm in Nova Scotia
Yes.
next. I promise I'm gonna put it on my to-do list, on my bucket
Good,
list.
good.
Thank you. Lori, I
Lovely.
want to go back to you and I want to ask you, and again, I don't know if you touched on this while I was gone, but I would
Probably.
love to ask you what changes or impacts you've noticed throughout, your career and developing the center, being the president of the Whale Sanctuary Project, with respect to marine animal welfare and the global marine park and aquarium industry.
Yeah, wow, that's a big question, but I'll say this. I think that things are changing. And what I mean by that is that one, more and more people are not comfortable seeing these animals in concrete tanks performing. The science is accruing, it's increasing, and the science is telling us they don't do well. And we are also seeing around the world efforts to end keeping these animals in entertainment parks. When I started out, maybe 30 years ago or so, that really wasn't on the radars. I mean, people were talking about it, and I have colleagues who are scientists, and they pointed out the welfare of these animals is not good. But in the past, I'd say 10 years in particular, maybe a little bit more, there's been a real rapid change in how people are viewing these animals, their intelligence, their needs, and how we should relate to them, that we should have a more respectful relationship with them than just keeping them in barren, impoverished environments doing tricks for us. So that's happening. It's not happening fast enough, but it is happening around the world. And I think, as we go through the years, we're going to see this trend continue. So
Yeah, thank you.
good. Yeah.
I know sometimes people can get frustrated because they don't see the change happening overnight. But for example, Bill S203, which banned the captivity of whales and dolphins, and Humane Canada was heavily involved in the passing of that bill, along
Yes.
with other groups, and that took about 5 years.
Mhm.
So I know we definitely want things to be like this, but unfortunately, that's not always how it works. But that's why we have people and groups like the Whale Sanctuary Project and other agencies working every single day to make things work, right? So if
Everything
anyone is
worthwhile takes time. It takes time to create a sanctuary like this. It takes time for public opinion to change, um, but it is going in the right direction. People need to know that there's a lot of people working on this. It is going in the right direction.
yeah, absolutely. And when I was watching that 5 minute short film yesterday that your team shared with me, I it came to my mind that we're talking about gigantic animals. We're not talking about rescuing a kitten or a dog, even if it's a big dog, like let's say a Great Dane. You can't compare a Great Dane to an orca. This is incredible. So even that alone, you have to think of all of the logistics involved in moving an animal of that size to the sanctuary. Like,
Yeah.
how do you do that? I can't even think about it. It's insane.
It is not like moving a dog or a cat, and creating a sanctuary for whales and dolphins is not like a land-based sanctuary for other animals. I mean, there are terrestrial sanctuaries for elephants and primates and bears, and those are big challenges. This one is a big challenge and in the water. And so it's an even more of a challenge. So wildlife sanctuaries are a big challenge, but we need them. And there's no doubt about it. This is a difficult thing to do. It takes many years. There are others working on this as well, but we are going to get there.
Yes, I love that. I want to highlight a comment here on LinkedIn from June Yang. Hi, June. Thanks for watching live. And June says, because it gets cut off on the screen, so I'm going to read it. Thank you so much, Lori, and to your team for your hard work on this amazing initiative. I would imagine the need outweighs the capacity for the number of cetaceans your facility would hold. Are there any specific cetaceans you are focusing on when the sanctuary is up and running? Thank you.
Well, we can, either one of us could answer that, but we'll say that our sanctuary is set up for beluga whales and orcas, separating them. But we have, as Alexandra said, over 100 acres of water space that we could separate species the way we want. Right now, we are very focused on finding a way to help rescue the 31 beluga whales at Marineland, Canada, who are there. That place is closing, and we would like to, and we're working very hard to find a path to discuss with them how we can help those whales. There's 31 of them. We can't take 31, but we can apply our expertise and help give those animals the best future possible and take many of them into our sanctuary. So Marineland Canada is really where we're focusing, but we also are looking for whales everywhere. South Korea, there's a letter of intent we've already signed with an aquarium there to bring their little beluga whale Bella to a sanctuary. And we recently were working very hard to try to bring two orcas from France to our sanctuary. Unfortunately, they are going to another marine park.
Okay. Again, let's think like we're talking about South Korea, France. This is far, everybody. So be patient with the Whale Sanctuary Project because this is no easy task. Again, it's not like going to the field behind my house. Oh, there's a litter of kittens. Let me just skate them. No, this is a huge deal. So congratulations. I am in awe at the work that you do, seriously. And we're almost at the top of the hour, but I would love to close up with you back, Alexandra, because again, Lori unfortunately cannot join us in Montreal. I know if you could, you would. You will be there representing the Whale Sanctuary Project. And your session, you're co presenting with Lauren Hamlet, Director of Wildlife Education and Services at Pasadena Humane in the United States. So, can you give us a quick sneak peek as to what attendees can expect from your session? What are some of those key takeaways?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I will say I am just thrilled to be joining you in Montreal. Natalia, it's going to be a pleasure to meet you and the rest of the team and Lauren as well. And just a little bit about our session. I mean, so I'll obviously be speaking to the Whale Sanctuary Project, giving a little bit of the history, but also presenting the framework for what it takes to build a sanctuary. So you've already kind of alluded to some of the logistical challenges moving big animals like this, but there's so much more. Even again, we talked a little bit today about selecting a site like this. There's so much that goes into it, all the research, the years, the support that's needed, and then again the permits, the regulatory process. So our session is going to really focus on, again, sort of detailing that framework, how to build a cetacean sanctuary here in Nova Scotia, and the session at large is going to focus on really bridging, community and conservation. So again, one of the questions you asked me earlier was really sort of that collaborative nature and all the folks that we need to really have on board to make a project like this a success. And so we'll be speaking a little bit more to that as well, and all of those sort of key actors, key players that again have been supporting us from the get-go, and that we genuinely need their support to make this a reality. So it's going to be all encompassing. It's going to feel really good. There's going to be a lot of key takeaways about, again, if you're looking to design a sanctuary, hopefully this provides a bit of a blueprint for it, but also, the power of community and what that really means for such a big project like this down on the ground.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And thank you for taking us behind the scenes in a way of showing us what it takes to get
Yeah.
to where you are right now. I want to highlight a couple of comments from Instagram. Um, Some people are interested in working or volunteering with you all. So how can they find out more about this? Morgan and Eva are asking here on Instagram.
Alexandra?
Yes. Well, I was going to say, if you don't mind, Lori, there is, if you go to our website, there's an info at whalesanctuary.org. Feel free to send us an email. We're always looking for volunteers, either locally or, you know, soon when the operations are up and running, we'll need like a dedicated team of researchers, students, but certainly here on the ground now, especially coming into summer, we would love to have more volunteers. So send us an email. Let us know who you are and what you're interested in, and we'd love to have you join the team.
Thank you. I just typed that on Instagram so the people watching us there can see it. Info
Yeah.
at whalesanctuary.org. And then what else? Yeah, let me see. Sending love from Niagara Falls. Thank you for all your work and for never giving up on the belugas at Marineland. This is from Heaven Luboki. I hope I said that right. Thank you for your comment. And thank you. Thank you as well. This is a perfect way to close off this live stream, Alexandra and Lori.
Thank
Thank you. Even though we experienced one technical difficulty, this was a fantastic conversation. It did not feel like it. We're really looking
It
forward
was
to the
fantastic.
session. Yeah,
Thank you.
nobody noticed. It's so good.
Thank you.
All good. Yeah,
It
this was
happened.
so lovely. Thank you for having us,
Yes.
Natalia. We'll see you in Montreal at the end of the month.
Yes.
Anytime, anytime. And
And
Lori, we hope to see you at the conference in 2026. I can't say what it
I,
is yet.
I
It's
might,
top
I
secret.
might be there. So,
Yes, yes. We hope to see you. You at the Whale Sanctuary Project. Everybody's always welcome at Humane Canada. We think very highly of you. We admire the work that you do. Clearly, everyone who was watching, same, sending you lots of love. So thank you. And Alexandra, will see you in Montreal. And everyone, thank you so much for watching. And if you watch the replay, thank you as well for watching the replay. Connect with the Whale Sanctuary Project on their social media so you can stay up to date on how this sanctuary is progressing. And of course, connect with us at Humane Canada as well. And if you did not get a ticket to come to Montreal this April to the conference, there's always 2026. Thank you again and have a great day, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.